Good to see
All
you.
right, let's quickly bring up this interesting news, Ibrahim, as a starter to our discussions this morning. And it has to do with the U.S. state of Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration now adding the Yoruba language for driver's permit tests, as well as vehicle registration and study materials. Now, this announcement is part of several new initiatives around the state to reflect its growing and diverse population. According to the latest data from the United States Census, Yoruba is one of the largest non-English languages spoken in that state. Now, some of the other languages added are Tagalog, Amharic, Arabic, Russian, Urdu, Hindi, Farsi, Portuguese, and the American Sign Language. And this is quite interesting, Ibrahim, when you look at, the keywords that the U.S. state, harped on, the issue of them leveraging on their diverse population. There had been languages in the driver's permit test, of course, the regular English, Chinese, and so on. But now we are now having, more diverse languages now to reflect, the kind of population that is in the populous state of Maryland. How does this seem to you?
Yeah, it's a welcome development, and it doesn't really come to me as it's a surprise because I know that Yoruba language is widely speaking, across the world, in the US, in the UK. Because if you remember the time of the slave trade era, where Nigerians were taken, especially from this part of Nigeria, where they're taken from Nigeria to the UK and to the US, etc., through the slave trade. So they transported, or let me say, they transposed Nigerian languages down to those countries. So if the US now deem it fit, not the entire states in the US, but then places like Maryland, Washington D.C., etc., they recognize the Yoruba language as one of the driver's license, languages, for medium of expression. Medium of communication. So it's really a welcome development, and it's also good to say that the driver's license that you get in Nigeria is also valid in Europe, valid in some parts of the US. So although it takes some time for them to now change it to their own, but they recognize that of Nigerian driver's license. So if Nigerian languages generally, and Yoruba, for instance, as a matter of fact, is now recognized, not just now recognized, but because we have more than over 1 million Yoruba descendants, speaking people who are in the United States. So if we have that, go to Chicago, go to Maryland, go to California, go to Washington D.C. as well, you find Yoruba speaking communities among these states. So it didn't come to me as a surprise. It's something that is really, really, that's why our younger generations, especially from here, where they will be saying, no, we want to speak English, you don't speak English to your children, they rather prefer that, you don't speak Yoruba to your children, they rather prefer that they speak English. No, you can imagine what is happening over there. You get there and then you find some people who would prefer to talk to you as a Nigerian rather than speaking another man's language.
Absolutely, Ibrahim, and there are a lot, of lessons, to draw from, what we see, and you harped on some of them. The fact that even we back here in Nigeria, the home country, so to speak, of the Yoruba language, or at least now in the southwestern part of the country, many of us don't seem to appreciate what we have. We even have non-Nigerians, we have non-Yoruba speaking individuals abroad who are, loving, who are growing in the love for the Yoruba language. Go to Brazil, for example. Even in the US, for example, now there are teachers who are not Nigerians, who are versed in the Yoruba language. And it also brings us again, makes us recall the advocacy for our homegrown languages beyond English to be taught, to be domiciled, so to speak, in our schools, beginning even from the starter classes, as in let our children know. Of course, we know that these languages like Yoruba, the main languages are already being taught, in many schools, depending on where you stand from. But, let's have the curricula in languages other than English in Nigeria, because, other than the fact that we need to love our cultures more,
right.
There is the issue of understanding, assimilation, and all that would be better, that people have argued would be better for the children, especially those in rural areas, if they are taught in their mother tongue, as we see in countries like China and some parts of Asia.
Yeah, it's first thing first, when you want to speak as a Yoruba person, you think in your own mother tongue before you speak another person's language. So that's why sometimes some people will be speaking English, and then you would know that what they're actually saying is Yoruba. You've had some people when they speak, they're actually talking to you in English, but in fact, what they are saying is Yoruba. So it's part of what the heated conversation I had with Mr. Atiba this morning, the producer of this show, talking about, valuing your own mother tongue. You can't be a white man if you're not a white man. We see that even Henry Townsend in, 1859, back in the day, when they came to Nigeria, the first newspaper was written in Yoruba language. Ìwé ìròyìn fún Yoruba, something like that. Bishop Ajayi Crowther, they did a lot translating.
The Bibles to various languages.
Exactly, and Yoruba is one of them. So although they had
people who say till now I'm talking about professionals in diverse genres and fields. Saying they would rather pray in their mother tongue. They would rather read
absolutely
the Holy Books in their mother tongue to drive home the message, at hand. And all this really food for thought for us here to do more. Perhaps the government can push this, head on, and then every other sectors can also, join in the mantra that this is a heritage that we mustn't let slip our hands. In fact, from where you stand, you can even say it's sleeping, because it's sleeping, because when you ask the average child out there, especially in urban areas, how many of them, can speak, can speak their languages. It's a collective, effort that, yes, English has given us so much and has made us to stand at par with our counterparts from across the world.
That's right.
But even at that, our mother tongue is also gives us a rich legacy that we mustn't lose.
If you go to El Salvador, for instance, they speak Yoruba there. Go to Cuba, which remains the smallest country.
Cuba, yeah.
They speak Yoruba. Brazil, there they also have what's it called? Our festivals.
They come home.
The Orisha and all of that.
You hear what I said? They come home. They come to Nigeria, to partake. When you look at, the mix of the non-Nigerians, the foreigners who come to join in the local festival in Osun State, it's always remarkable. It's always remarkable how the city of Ile-Ife comes alive for this, festival with potpourri of tourists and, adherents to the Ifa religion who come to pay homage and join, fellow worshippers. It's really something interesting to see.
That's right.
All right.